Have you ever thought about opening a local business here in Paraguay? Well, I've just done exactly that, and today I want to tell you everything that happened to us, like how much I invested, what the costs were, what the economic projections are, and what are the real challenges that an entrepreneur faces down here.
Welcome to Cronos Buricao.
For starters, it's a martial arts and functional training gym in the CrossFit style. Okay, so martial arts and CrossFit. Do you remember that podcast with Lehi Leiva?
De Cronos porque estoy seguro que voy a invertir en una Cronos o en una CrossFit de Cronos o en una nueva Cronos. Puede ser que CrossFit San Lorenzo se abra.
O este Cronos de turistas está bueno.
As I promised, I decided to bet on the Cronos brand and also open a branch of mine. So not just any branch, but by far the largest gym in the whole group. This is 750 square meters in the Buricao neighborhood, not to be confounded with Burucuya, okay? Residential area that really not many foreigners know, but it's, let's say, beside the more famous Recoleta, and it's very close to the embassy of the US. In an area that is really inhabited by, let's say, middle and upper middle class of Asuncion, who want to be like close to the center, but at the same time like enjoy a little bit of the safety and tranquility of a residential neighborhood. But above all, it's a place where among the people who live and work there, there's a 20,000 people market that is not being served by even one CrossFit or martial arts gym. It all starts with this completely dilapidated structure, okay, almost apocalyptic scenario where we had to completely renovate everything from top to bottom. The good thing is that thanks to the dilapidated condition, we managed to get a good deal. It's like 8 million guaranis a month for rent, which is $1,200 roughly, for a 5-year contract. And just to give you an idea, this is about half of what the same structure would cost you if it was in perfect condition, okay? So we had to fix the flooring, repair holes in the roof, build a rainwater drainage from scratch, change doors, demolish walls, install a false ceiling, partially also redo the electrical system, and really all of this in total was about $50,000 spent just on structural costs. Our engineers organized 3 shifts a day to ensure that all the work was finished in just 11 weeks. And I must say the guys did a great job.
Let's hop on a little tour. By the time you're gonna watch this video, it's gonna be 100% done. Right now, it's 85% done. Our reception area is gonna host all the merchandise. We're selling all the CrossFit stuff, all the boxing stuff. We're gonna have a section right there for the Claytons and like the very high-end gloves, Leone and such. We start with the CrossFit. CrossFit area is around 350 square meters. Here is gonna be all just dedicated to CrossFit. And after the ring, it's gonna be where the action is gonna happen for the martial arts. Here we have the male lockers and the changing rooms. After you, we got a showers, changing room. This was all completely dust when we came here. Dust and pigeon excrements, so we had to do a lot of heavy lifting. But there we go. Gonna have a little office upstairs.
Then another 50K was spent on structural costs that are, let's say, the ones you would face even in a perfect condition, okay? So, air conditioning, air curtains, reception, parking, arrangement, bathrooms, changing rooms, structure for hanging boxing bags, metal frames for CrossFit, ring, tatami, technical, everything else, decorations, lighting, so all of that was 50K in total. Finally, $80,000 was invested in machinery, so weights, martial arts equipment, computers, access control, and merchandise to sell as well, because we also have that. In total then, we invested $180,000. I've invested in partnership with Dino, our third Greek partner, with whom we have split the investment exactly in half. So both of us have 40%, and then Lehi has another 20%. But how much does it cost to keep a structure like that open in Paraguay, and what are the economic projections? Well, we have many more rooms and saloons inside the structure, so we were able to rent the space in front of the gym to a barbershop and the space at the back of the gym to a coffee shop. So we receive 7 million guaranis in sub-rent every month. So our net rent between the gym and the parking lot, because we basically rented an adjacent plot of land for the parking lot, drops to only 4 million guaranis a month, which is nothing, just $600.
We get to the martial arts area right now. They're really focused because the guy with the strips is gonna compete real soon in a very important MMA match. Hyper focused, don't wanna disturb them too much. Here is gonna be dedicated to martial arts. Got the bags. It's gonna be a calisthenics area. Here we're gonna have a bar. The bar is actually not ours. They are renting from us. Here we don't know what to do, but I wanna put a place where you can fight in VR because I think it's gonna help people a lot to improve, and VR is also great for beginners. They don't know how to fight, they don't wanna get hurt. So fighting in VR really helps them trying to overcome that like sparring fear. And upstairs we have another 3 big rooms that we still don't know what to use them for, but idea is to rent them out to like physiotherapists, massage, whatever. Here is all pretty much done. Like this area is supposed to kind of stay like this. We're gonna have jiu-jitsu, karate, box, of course, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and capoeira classes in this part right here. And that is the deal.
Then we spend about $3,000 a month on salaries and $500 a month on utilities, Wi-Fi, software, and obviously another $1,500 a month for depreciation has to be considered, because at the end of the day, our machinery, though covered by warranty, won't last forever. So it's important to set aside funds every month to be able to renew our machinery regularly. In total, therefore, our costs, between proper costs and just cash flow costs, are $5,600 a month plus the budget we decide to invest on marketing and ads. On average, consider that our customers pay $40 a month, so we need 100 of them to be cash flow positive and 140 of them to break even including depreciation. So think that in the first month we have already reached 82 members, having opened on March 1st and not actually being yet ready with all the advertising on Meta, on Google, on TikTok that I do plan on doing, but we basically are in that part in which we are doing the video editing, landing pages, and so on. So those 82 just pretty much hit the door somehow. In terms of potential, the maximum amount of members we can have is 700 divided pretty much in half between the martial arts part and the CrossFit part, making a more conservative estimate of 500 members. With subscriptions alone, we can generate $20K a month and therefore $13,400 in monthly profit. Added to these are the sales of equipment and merchandise, the events we plan to organize, especially tournaments, and private one-on-one lessons, which are pretty common and popular. Furthermore, an enrollment fee of $40 is paid once a year by every member, which allowed us to actually be cash flow positive even during our first month. Because yeah, we only have 82 people, but they basically paid 40 and 40, one for the month and one for the yearly subscription. So cash flow was positive starting month 1, like crazy. In total, it took us 4 months to open though. We started the work in November and opened on March 1st.
It's finally the moment for the grand opening of the gym. I'm super happy, more than 100 people showed up. We call the fittest gathering in Paraguay. We're gonna have exhibitions of CrossFit, box, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. So it's gonna be a night completely dedicated to sport and energy and friendship and discipline. Just very happy to see that after 6 months, it all came together for this night right here.
They call me J.O.N. to the easy E. Know that we undefeated, y'all are beneath them speeches trying to air a grievance. But his lines are overhead, better check the air for clearance. Call the tower, this is our clear to heat the air repair.
¿Qué opinas del gimnasio?
No, me gusta muchísimo, creo que, yo soy de parte porque hago boxeo acá y es mi gimnasio favorito.
Time that we welcome to go. Yo, we're just leaving, I think about time that somebody go get on their coat. You know I got all that anthem, come back in, what you call that add-on. Got anthems and bands with masters, getting them right like my name.
Super happy about how the whole event turned out. Literally, it was a lot of fun. There was so many people, and also we brought together the community of the Buricao neighborhood, which is a neighborhood not really well known around the foreigners community of Paraguay, but truly to me one of the best ones for doing these local businesses as investments here. So nothing, just glad to see people having a good time, chatting, dancing. The exhibitions were a lot of fun. I think like the beginning, it was an exhibition, but towards the end of the match, like everyone was kind of getting the feel for it, and it wasn't too much of an exhibition, you know what I mean? Like a few hits were pretty heavy. But yeah, I mean, like truly super happy to be here and about how the whole night has turned out to be.
In all of this, here are the biggest challenges that we faced, and certainly some of these are things that we are not used to in the West, and things that you really have to consider before opening a business in Paraguay. First, as it often happens, there were no precise floor plans for the whole property, which means the electrical system, plumbing systems, everything else. It happens in Paraguay. You have to figure them out, just from scratch, understand how things were done and where all the cables and the tubes are. Second, the first contractor we called for the plumbing system tried to cheat us. I don't even think it was out of malice, I just think it was pure laziness, but here's what happened. He built only one pit for the drainage of rainwater and for the bathrooms, with the result that when it started raining, the bathrooms started flooding. Obviously, he then had to fix everything for free, properly building two separate pits, and then he was fired, but still it made us lose some time and some money. Third, we had two trees right in front of the gym. This is very nice. Basically, since the roots were damaging the structure, we had to remove them, right? And as required by the law of Paraguay, when you want to remove those trees, you have to plant another 10 per tree. So we had to plant another 20 trees, and that's an exceptional rule. I truly like it because it helps keeping the city really green. Fourth thing, to open a commercial activity open to the public of this type, it is essential to have permits from both the municipality and the fire department. Luckily, we do have friends everywhere, so it took very little time to get them, but I know that if you don't have like any friends or connections, it can take quite a lot of time. Not gonna lie, it depends on who you know. Fifth, just when we were ready to install the air conditioning system, it started raining super hard with an equally strong wind, so the rain was pouring horizontally and it flooded the whole gym. Well, I guess you gotta be ready for the tropical thunderstorms of Paraguay. Thankfully, now big damage was done. And sixth, one of the rainwater drain pipes was so worn out that broke during a rainy day. So it started throwing water all over the gym. And you know why we didn't notice that? Because the property owner had painted the pipe in a way that made it look new, or like at least in an excellent condition, let's say. But hey, it's absolutely obvious and to be expected that in every project there are some situations of this kind, and I gotta say, all three of us partners have always been experienced with these kind of things, and we had utmost serenity. Also to note, between full-time employees and independent professors in our gym, we created 12 stable jobs, and another 4 were created between the barbershop at the entrance and the cafeteria at the back. And for me, that's always the greatest satisfaction. Now, every 3 months, I promise, I will make an update on how things are going, how many clients do we have, how much costs are running, and I'm just gonna keep you updated to tell you how our investment is actually doing and what are the challenges we will face next. I hope this video has inspired all of those that are thinking of opening a local business in Paraguay, and as always, from Asunción, that's all for today. I'll see you in Paraguay.